Hello there and welcome to yet another episode of our program Know Your Laws, where we talk on matters to do with law, justice and legal affairs, always to educate you, help you and learn new laws and policies that govern you in our country. And to our topic of discussion today, we are going to talk about all to do with immigration and travel, and my guest Collins Aguayo is an immigration lawyer. Welcome to the program where we talk on matters to do with law, justice and legal affairs.
Thank you so much for welcoming me, and to the viewers, welcome to the program. I anticipate that you are going to talk about a range of issues concerning immigration and immigration law in Kenya, and it will be great opportunity sharing with you.
Yeah, thank you for the introductory part, of course, setting the pace for our viewers.
You're welcome.
As we begin our discussion, let's first understand how does the Kenyan immigration laws and policies operate for its people?
Basically, the foundation of immigration in Kenya, if we talk about the hierarchy of laws, it starts from the Constitution. The Constitution of Kenya provides for citizenship, that is the citizenship bit of the Constitution. So for this particular discussion, we'll just deal with the basics as we move on to the other sector. So the Constitution provides for citizenship, and under citizenship is where we have immigration. Immigration deals with a lot of issues which we can basically interpret of movement of Kenyans in and out, and also it deals with the database of people coming to Kenya. Those are the foreigners. So it deals with a lot of things. Then we have the Citizenship and Immigration Act, also of 2011, that basically elaborates the provision of the Constitution concerning immigration in Kenya. Aside from that, we have other policies that are developed by the Immigration Department and also by the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government. So those are the hierarchy of how immigration is being operated in Kenya legally. And under that, then we can also break down to other factors that are related to ones that we've already provided. Yeah.
And having explained about how the immigration laws and policies in Kenya are structured, how easy is it for a Kenyan citizen to be able to travel outside the country?
If you've seen, I know you have a passport. If you go over your passport, there is a provision there that says that this is like, it's an authority from the president allowing you to travel outside the country. So there are so many things before you travel outside the country, or before you receive that visa, or before you get to that plane to travel out of the country. There are so many things that take place before that. One, you must, for you to get a Kenyan passport, you must be a Kenyan citizen.
Okay.
So for you to receive the Kenyan passport, you must be a Kenyan citizen. Then after receiving the Kenyan passport is the legal document that will allow you to travel to other countries. So upon receiving the Kenyan passport in your name, that's when you can be able to apply for a visa to travel to other countries. But because of the treaties that you have, there are countries that you may be required to travel with a visa. There are countries that you can travel without a visa, and there are countries that you travel, then you receive a visa upon arrival. So talking of a Kenyan traveling outside the Republic of Kenya, these are the considerations that should be made. One, you should have a passport. The passport is the legal document that will allow you to travel outside the country, and the passport is issued by the Department of Immigration. Two, depending on the destination, you will be required to apply for a visa. Let's say you're traveling to maybe South Africa, you're traveling to the United States, or maybe even United Kingdom, you are then required to apply for a visa. So differentiating the two between the passport and the visa, the passport is issued as the Department of Immigration by the Kenyan government, granting you authority to travel outside. But the visa is issued by the relevant High Commission or embassy. If I want to travel, for example, to United Kingdom or to South Africa, I will liaise with these embassies so that I can be issued with the visa. The visa is the authority of that country allowing you to get to those particular country. So once you've received the passport, applying for a visa is another process, because different countries have different regulations and different requirements for you to get a visa to move outside. Many of the countries, they do consider maybe your bank account details. They do consider what you're going to do there. And also under visa, there are different types of visas depending on what you're going to do in these particular countries. Yes.
And now, because you've talked about passport and visa, what is the procedure if someone wants to get a passport again to travel outside of the country? What is the procedure of being able to acquire a passport? And as well, after getting the passport, again, now we will get to the procedure now of getting the visa, because you've said different countries have different treaties on how you can apply for your visa. So
basically, for application of a passport, you are right as a Kenyan to have a passport, but that does not mean that you must have it. Constitutionally, if you want a passport, it's a right for you to get it under the citizenship part of the Constitution, and also under the Citizenship and the Immigration Act of Kenya. So how can you get a passport? One, you should be a Kenyan citizen. Being a Kenyan citizen, there is whereby you can be able to apply for the Kenyan passport, because the passport will be approved that you are from Kenya, you are a Kenyan citizen. And you know there are two ways of becoming a Kenyan citizen. One is by birth, where your parents, or either of them is a Kenyan, or two is by registration, whereby it is specified by law for a certain period that you should be here, and what you are required so that you can get the Kenyan citizenship. So let us now talk about the common mwananchi. How can the common mwananchi acquire the passport?
Passports,
So one, there are some documents that you are required to have. One, you should be having your birth certificate, which of course it will indicate that you are either born in Kenya, or depending where you are born, as long as you are a Kenyan citizen. Two, for those above the age of 18, you should be having your ID card. Those are for the Kenyans who have attained the age of the majority. But for children, they can use the details of their guardians. Apart from the details that I've already provided, you will also be required to provide someone who can stand in for you. We can say someone like an next of kin to approve that indeed you are a Kenyan. For example, if you are going to apply for your passport, then you can have me to prove that you are a Kenyan citizen. The other thing, you will be required to provide the details of your parents. That is the national ID or maybe the death certificate, depending if they are alive or dead. And also at times you might be required to provide for even the birth certificate of the parents, depending on the structure of your family or where you come from. So all these documents are required for one particular purpose. When you attain the Kenyan passport and you go out of Kenya, it means you are a Kenyan going outside Kenya, outside the country. So the country must protect its reputation, and it should also allow that everyone traveling in the name of Kenya, or everyone authorized to travel in the name of Kenya, is a Kenyan citizen. That's why the documents that are required for you to receive the Kenyan passport are more or less, we can say they are more than when you apply for other documentation apart from the passport itself. Yes.
And now, after attaining the passport, of course, the passport can only enable you to travel within countries, maybe like in the same block like East African countries. But now you want to travel abroad, and now you need a visa. You talked about different treaties, different states and having different policies on how you can get their visa. So for a Kenyan who wants to travel maybe to the United States or to countries in Europe and they need a visa, what is the procedure now of getting that particular document?
One, when you get the Kenyan passport, as you've clearly stated it, that the passport will allow you to travel within the East African community, because even the passport that are currently issued, they are East African community passport, meaning that you can travel to either of the East African community country without having a visa. But also, because of the international treaties that we have with different nations and agreements that we do have, you will find that there are countries also even outside the East African community whereby you can be able to travel without a visa. Those are, we call them visa-free countries, whereby maybe citizens of that country can come to Kenya without a visa, and Kenyans can go to that country without applying for a visa. That is category number one. Number two, there are those countries that you can be able to travel with the Kenyan passport without getting a visa from Kenya. So when you get to the immigration section of that particular country at the airport or at their point of entry, then you can be granted a visa. For those, they are called countries that allow for visa on arrival, where you are given visa once you arrive on that particular country. The other category is whereby you cannot move outside Kenya without getting the visa. So you apply for the visa, you receive it from here. Once you receive the visa is when you can be able to travel to those particular countries. So for category one, for the East African community, there is no problem because the passport will allow you to travel to those particular countries. For category two, there is no big problem because you'll be granted the visa on arrival. And some of these countries that do provide visa on arrival, maybe you'll be required to apply online. Then when you get there, you'll just be granted the visa when you arrive there. But for this particular category of countries whereby you will be required to apply for this particular visa, so there is where we get the difference. Because the requirements from one country to another is totally different. From Commonwealth countries to other countries that are not part of the Commonwealth, it is totally different. But if you consider all the countries, and we can say majorly the requirements are more or less the same, only that it varies ranging from one country to another. So one of the major requirements that this country do ask for is for your bank account details. And you know, majorly that one is because they don't want you to travel to their country more. So for these developed countries, then you disappear there without coming back. You see, when you have a good bank account, it tells that you are in a position to sustain yourself there, and also you can come back. Two, depending on the type of visa that you apply, because you have different types of visa, you can either go as a visitor, you can go with a business visa, you can go on holiday visa, depending. Two, they also check if you have a calling letter. A calling letter basically is, do you have an entity that is calling you there? Maybe it's a company that you are going to represent, or maybe you have a friend that you are going to visit, or maybe you're just going on holiday. So that's another factor that they consider. The other factor, more so for those going for holiday, you should have pre-booked hotel bookings. And also you should be in a position to have a return flight ticket, whereby you have indicated that you are going to visit this country maybe for 14 days. And when the 14 days subsides, you'll be able to come back to Kenya. So you should also indicate that you have a return flight ticket. That's another thing that they do consider. Apart from that, if you are going for that one, maybe it's you're going for company job and everything. Maybe you have received, you have another company in a different region, then it's calling you there. That one is another consideration. Or maybe you've received a job outside Kenya. So if you've received a job where you're going to get the employment from, they'll give you a letter to indicate that they are the one calling you to that particular place. So those are the basic, some of the basic things that they do check. And also they do check if you have ever been denied a visa to travel to that particular country. If you have never been denied and you are good with all these factors, then the chances of you getting a visa to travel to any particular country are very high. Or yeah.
So under what circumstances now can they deny, can a certain country now deny you visa to enter their country? Once you are, probably you want to travel to a certain country, but there are circumstances, of course, some of them being universal, where you get denied a visa because you've had people complaining that I was denied visa. Under what grounds do can a Kenyan who wants now to travel abroad, or rather any person, be denied a visa?
When it comes to states and government, one of the most important thing is the sovereignty, whereby the state is in a position to govern itself and also to develop its affairs without foreign interruption. And you'll come to realize that every country wants to protect its sovereignty to the core. So one of the reasons why you can be denied a visa, and one of the serious reasons where across board you can't be denied visas for security purposes, whereby maybe you've been implicated, you are maybe a terrorism suspect, or you take place in money laundry, or you are under the Interpol watch list. You see, before you are granted visa, all these background checks are done, so that they cannot grant a terrorist a visa, for example. Because even if someone is coming to Kenya and that person is a security threat to the Kenyan government or to the Kenyan people, then the government has all the reasons to deny this particular person to travel to this particular country. Destination. And number two is when you present yourself, or when you try to attain that visa through fraud. For example, I take my bank account there. They require my bank details and everything. So I provide my bank statement. But upon doing their due diligence, which of course some countries do, they find that maybe the bank statement was edited, or maybe it was doctored, meaning it's not the correct bank statement. So you are trying to get into this particular destination through fraud. For that also you'll be denied the visa. Number three is when you are not able to provide the reason for your travel. You see, it's just like going to someone's place and you're not friends, you're not relatives. This person must know what are you coming to do. Yeah, so if you're not in a position to explain why you're going there, automatically you'll be denied a visa, even if you qualify for all the other things, but you are unable to provide the reason why you're going there, then the chances of being denied a visa there are so far. Yeah.
So the responsibility now, once you have a passport of going to get a visa, lies at the hands of the traveler, or the person intending to visit a certain country, or the immigration department of Kenya is also part and parcel of you getting a visa.
When it comes to getting a visa, it solely depends on the state that you're going to travel to. Let's say, for example, I'm going to, let me say, for example, Germany, or even United Kingdom. You see, because I'm traveling to their country, they have all the rights to give visas to the people that they want. It depends on them. If they are satisfied that you qualify to travel to their country, then well and good. And also it depends on the person traveling, because you should give satisfactory reasoning for you to be granted that particular visa. And the other thing, the only part that you'll come in contact with the department, the Kenyan Immigration Department, is at the airport, where you'll be asked like, where are you going? Where are you going to do? Or what are you going to do outside Kenya? It's just the same way when you are a small child, when you want to go or to visit your friends or neighbors, your parent has the responsibility of asking you, where are you going? So even at the airport, they'll be asking you, where are you going? Or what are you going to do? Because it is the responsibility of the government to ensure the security of the citizens. So they must ensure that you are safe and you know what you are doing. That is the only question that will be asked at the airport by the Kenyan Immigration Department. Yeah.
And okay, now because the issuance of visa for you to be able to travel abroad lies at the hands of the specific country that you're going to travel to, once they accept your visa application and they say you qualify and now they want to issue you with a visa, and can the Kenyan government now under specific circumstances revoke that visa for you to be able to travel out of the country?
No, they can't. Legally, they can't. The only thing that can happen maybe, of course, this is what can happen. Let's say, for example, I have a court case, but like what's happening with the corruption cases, then I'm a flight risk. You see, getting outside the country at the point of exit, it can be difficult. Maybe there is a court order whereby you are not allowed to travel outside the country. At the point of exit, that is the point that you will be denied to go out to exit Kenya. But the government of Kenya having the authority to nullify your visa, it doesn't have that authority. Yeah, but in the event that there is a valid court order that you are a flight risk and you're not allowed to exit Kenya, then of course the government can deny you from traveling outside. Yeah.
And in the event of course, under the circumstances of being barred from traveling, in a scenario like what we've seen initially, where we see a certain flight company denying to transport someone to their respective destination, maybe because there are some blacklist and red flags. How does that scenario happen where someone now finds themselves they have been denied or rather blacklisted from being able to travel, and they're not able now to be ferried from one destination to another?
You see, majorly what happens, we've talked about sovereignty and also how the state it protects its citizen and its people. You see, it's the responsibility of the state. It's the state is like the father to the family. The father will allow who goes in and who goes out. But going out, it cannot limit you. The government cannot limit you traveling outside, not unless there is a valid court order. And also, when you are a Kenyan citizen, the government cannot deny you from coming back to Kenya. Because you see, this is your place, this is your home, and there is no any other home apart from Kenya. But what happens, according to the facts on the table, for now we'll discuss about the facts and the facts of those transactions. So what happens, you'll find that maybe, let's say, the state of Kenya will implicate that you are a threat to Kenya. And because immigration is a state responsibility, the state can maybe give directive to this particular airlines that this particular person is barred from traveling to Kenya. So when that happens, you see, because the airlines, they don't have that authority, because they are landing in Kenyan soil. And if you are an airline, you are in business. And there are some laws that govern the air travels. So if Kenya doesn't want this particular person to land on its soil, there is no way the airline can force itself landing on the soil. So that's what happens. You find that according to the facts on the table, maybe this person is not a Kenyan citizen. And according to the government records, maybe this person is a threat to Kenyans. So when that happens, the airlines cannot do much to save you, or maybe even to allow you to fly with the airlines to this particular country. Yeah.
And as we conclude on this particular episode, my last question would be like, in between the entire acquiring of such documents like passport, visa, and being able to travel, how long can it take in a circumstance that you want to travel?
The time frame cannot be, I cannot say that there's a particular time frame that you can receive these documents, because maybe of backlog while applying passports. But usually if it's not for backlog, I heard the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government saying that the government is trying to work so hard so that someone can receive their passport within 1 to 3 weeks or 1 to 2 weeks there. But you see, because of backlogs, maybe at times you go there, you find the printers have broken down and so on and so forth. So you find that the time frame of getting the passport differs. And the other thing also, it depends with the urgency of the matter. For example, I'm sick, I need to go for further medication, maybe in India or United Kingdom. You see, my case is different. When I go to apply for a passport, it can be expedited. Even within 1 or 2 days, I can receive my passport so that I can go and receive treatment to this particular area. The same thing happens while applying for visas. While applying for visas, you know, the grounds are different. If I apply on medical grounds, chances of I getting even the United States visa are fatter than when I'm applying maybe for holiday or so on or so forth. So it depends. It's case-to-case basis. But for visas, I cannot give an exact time frame because different countries have different regulations and different procedures. But for passports, yeah, depending on the emergency, you can receive your passport as fast as possible, as long as you provide the required documents and you provide the and all the documents are okay. Yeah.
And that is where we wind up on this particular episode, where we've been able to talk about how you can travel and the policies and the regulations on enabling someone to travel out of the country. Thank you so much for making time for this particular episode. And that is our discussion that we've been talking about the immigration law, helping you to understand how you can be able to travel and conquer all the set policies for you to be able to get to your destination. My guest has been Collins Agweyu, who is an immigration lawyer, talking to us about how you can be able to get safely where you want to go by the Kenyan law. And that is where we wind up on this particular episode. Be sure to catch the next episode where we will talk on things you cannot do when you have been allowed to enter and travel in a certain country. My name is Chris Hambo, and see you on the next episode.